Good morning, good morning. It is August 1st, and I would like to call the August 1st special board meeting to order, and it is 9 a.m. There is a quorum present, and notice of this meeting has been posted for the time and manner required by law. Our president, Kyle Hagermeyer, is not here, so Chad Jones will be leading our meeting. So, Chad?
All right, we have no public comments this morning. Let's go to standing information, ad hoc reports and items.
Chad, do we need to call roll?
Oh, sorry, we need to call roll. Cliff?
Present.
Scott Carson?
Present.
Charles Perry?
Present.
Ms. Nikita Lagway?
Present.
Our missing members are Mr. Kyle Hagemeyer, Ms. Paulette Traylor, and my name is Chad Jones.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Thank you so much. So I have one item for the standing informational item, and that is regarding an emergency purchasing. In mid-May, we had a significant amount of water runoff that was observed along Wildcat Drive and North Campbell Street. And upon further investigation, it had been determined that a 4-inch PVC line originating from a central plant at Lynn Lucas Middle School was discharging a substantial volume of water into a storm catch basin, and that was located at the northeast corner of that new science classroom addition. So after we reviewed the historical construction drawings, it was revealed that the line was originally identified as a sanitary sewer line. So at an undetermined point during that prior construction, the line had been severed and it was redirected into the nearby storm catch basin. Given that source of the water, which was the Lynn Lucas Central Plant, and the discharge contained chemically treated water, the line must be properly reconnected to an approved sanitary sewer system, which will help us to comply with the environmental and code requirements. So our board policy states that emergency purchasing requires an immediate board notification, which is followed by written notification to the board at the first available meeting, and that's where we are right now. So per policy CH local, the competitive bid requirement still exists for emergency procurement, and Willis ISD sought a cost plus bid by current Willis ISD vendors using our existing JOC contracts. So we received 2 specific JOC contract bids, and that we awarded them to the lowest bidder, which is Stewart Builders, and that was 12% of the total cost of the completion of the project. So just wanted to make you aware of that. But in addition, we'll be bringing something in August because something happened this week. And so I'm just making you aware of that today. While prepping our site for our parking lot additions at the high school, a Willis ISD fiber line was cut. So at that time, our technology department, thank goodness, Stephen Shannon, they went to mark where all the other lines were located. This resulted in a contractor realizing that they may potentially cut other lines during that work site. So Willis ISD privately interconnecting that fiber in the direct path of 2 of the 3 of our parking lots. So our fiber vendor suggested that we bore under the football field, and Gamma agreed with either option. So we will be bringing the final solution and resolution when we come back in August, but I'm making y'all aware of that ahead of time. So, yes.
Let's start at Lynn Lucas. What do we expect that cost to be on this project?
That cost should be no more than $10,000 to $12,000 max cost.
Okay.
We have met with multiple companies, and Stewart Builders has given us some ideas of what this was going to end up costing, so we don't feel that it should be any more than $10,000 to $12,000.
And then this pipe that was busted, how long? I guess my question is, did it have anything to do with the add-ons or anything we're building over there?
It did not. This was an existing slab that we created, the new chiller plant. And then this was a floor drain that was inside of that existing slab where the new water-cooled chillers are located. The existing document showed this floor drain to be tied into the existing sewer system, not the storm system. We kept wondering why the water was there, and this was done years or decades ago, who knows, but this was rerouted into that storm. Because at that time, it was just a floor drain, and so we realized that it was tied into the storm and not the sanitary, so we have to move it.
It's showing up now because we went to water cool instead of air cool?
Yes.
Okay, all right. And then over there at the high school, okay, I guess it's a couple questions. Before start something like that, all your undergrounds are marked, okay? Was there any way for us to know, I mean, why are we hitting all these lines?
Because we didn't know the depth of it, and they weren't marked correctly, they weren't buried correctly. And the contractor who did this didn't put it in a bank, or they didn't put markings. When you dig electrical lines and dig fiber lines, we like to lay markings so many feet or so above it, so when you start digging, you hit that colored tape or you hit that colored marking to know that, hey, you're fixing to hit electrical line or cable line.
Yeah, I can speak more to that too, Mr. Jones. That was put in by the GC when we hooked the CTE building in, and it was put in, like Bob mentioned, at the depth now of 4 inches, where typically you like to see that at 4 feet or deeper. So it was 4 to 6 inches, and that's what Game did see as they started prepping that site.
4 inches on the ground?
Yes, sir.
Wow, okay. So we're gonna have to replace all of that?
There are two areas that are in conflict, so they are giving us a price to just address those two, or to go straight, shortest path under the stadium field there, and then we'll look at both of those bids and see which one is cheapest and best route.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Item 4, consent agenda. Is there any board member that would like to discuss anything before we take a motion?
I can make a motion.
You go ahead, Mr. Carson.
Move that we accept it. This is the Lynn Lucas consent agenda one, okay. I'll move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation and approve Stuart Builders as the job vendors for Lynn Lucas School choir, carpet, and paint.
Okay, get a second. Got a motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Mr. Williams. All those in favor? 5 none, motion carries. Item 5, discussion possible action items. Item A, discuss and consider approval of the 25-26 code of conduct. Mr. Holander, good morning.
All right, good morning. Good morning, members of the school board, Dr. James. Had to make a little correction in my notes. Ms. Madison, thank you for being here today. So we are here to discuss the WISD student code of conduct for the 25-26 school year and consider approval. What I would like to do is just walk you through some of the changes, and before I actually do that, I want to give a little context for code of conduct versus handbook, because I'm actually going to talk a little bit about the handbook language in relation to this code of conduct, so we clarify some things. Code of conduct is a much shorter version. It is the legal version. It is what drives our handbook. So code of conduct is how we make sure we're within the bounds of school board policy and state and local laws. We then write our handbook to make sure that we have a process for enforcing all of those rules. So this is our policy. You'll notice it's much, much shorter than the handbook. So when we go to the regular August board meeting, you're going to see the handbook, and it's an informational item, but that's where we're going to give you more of the detailed look at how we are handling the policies that are in the student code of conduct. Okay, so I will run you through a whole bunch of updates as we go through. If you have questions, feel free. So one of the first updates we had for this school year, possession or use of nicotine delivery or e-cigarette is now a discretionary placement for DAP. So first time offenses under previous law forced us to put a kid straight into DAP. Okay, so we were looking at 20-day placements with reduction last year. It is now discretionary to place a student at DAP. So there's a shift in how we are handling that at a school level, and you'll see that language in the handbook. Additionally, there's language that requires us to do a minimum of 10 days of ISS. So if we're not going to use DAP, we must use 10 days of ISS as a minimum for a first-time nicotine offense. Okay? There's a little bit more clarification as well on what nicotine is. They've added nicotine pouches into the language just to reiterate anything nicotine related is prohibited and cannot be on a campus. So that language kind of clarifies and helps us understand anything that delivers nicotine is not allowed on a school campus in the possession of a student. Okay? Our policy for personal communication devices. So this is a big shift. Our personal communication device is aligned with state law. So at this point, the student code of conduct is kind of a brief overview of how we're aligned to state law, but I want to walk you through the handbook language so you'll see how we're going to tie that in. And I know the biggest question is obviously going to be, how are we implementing this on the campus levels? So here's the way the language breaks down. Personal communication devices are prohibited during the school day including instructional time, breakfast, lunch, and passing periods. Personal communication devices shall be stored in backpacks and turned off. If a student uses a personal communication device without authorization during the school day, the device will be confiscated and the following steps will be taken. First offense, the confiscated device will be collected and turned into the principal's office. The principal or principal's designee will contact home. The parent will pick up the device. And I just want to clarify something, principal's designee, the reason we did that language, that way a teacher could be the one that is responsible on a campus level for that first offense, but it also could be an office-driven task. Second offense, the confiscated device will be collected and turned into the principal's office. An administrator will contact the parent, guardian. The parent or guardian will pick up the device and the student will serve lunch or after-school detention. Third offense, the confiscated device will be collected and turned into the principal's office. An administrator will contact the parent or guardian, and the parent or guardian will pick up the device. The student will serve 1 day of ISS. And then we get into the language of what happens after that, right? Because we're not going to just continue to say, keep bringing it back and we'll suspend you, suspend you, suspend you. Additional violations of this policy shall result in more serious discipline action in accordance with the student code of conduct that may include but is not limited to ISS, OSS, and or DAP placement, okay? And one of the other key pieces that I know is going to come up for our campuses is a parent or guardian must retrieve the confiscated device from the campus. The only exceptions for the cell phone policy apply to implementation of an IEP or 504, a directive from a qualified physician, or to comply with safety protocols. So there is space for us to be able to identify or address individual student needs, but the goal to our policy, the way it's written in the code of conduct and the way it will be written in the handbook, is to ensure, does not matter what campus you're at, whether you're in elementary, whether you're in secondary, middle school, makes no difference. The same expectations apply, and the way we handle it is exactly the same across all campuses, all administrators, all teachers, okay? All right, we've got artificial intelligence that was added. It is added to the misuse of technology resources and internet and is included under academic dishonesty. We've kind of been treating it that way, but now it's formalized. That is part of academic dishonesty, and it's under the technology resources. A big change for us as well is formal teacher removal. So House Bill 6 changes the standards of teacher removals, and teacher removals can result from a single incident of student behavior, and that the teacher should have the opportunity to participate in a conference with an administrator, a parent, and a student. The commissioner will adopt a model to return to class plan. Has not been adopted yet, but when we get it, we'll figure out how we're going to implement it. That will support districts in creating a return to class plan for students who are removed. Okay? And then we've got a couple of changes to in-school suspension and out-of-school suspension. So, ISS is not subject to a time limit. It previously was 3 days, and that was a big adjustment for administrators. As behaviors escalate, it really reduced their ability to keep a kid in school and provide education and cause more exclusionary practices from the campus as a whole. So we now have the ability to do 10 days. What we have to do is reevaluate at 10 days. So we put a kid in, if it's gonna go over 10 days, you have to have a reevaluation of the placement and determine if you continue ISS. Obviously, our goal is not to remove kids from the instructional setting. So our real goal is to keep them in the classroom, but with behaviors that would need to result in removal, we now have a little more capacity to provide them still with learning and keep them in the building rather than having them at home. And then for students below grade 3, here's the out-of-school suspension shift. They are not to be suspended unless the conduct threatens the immediate health and safety of other students or the documented conduct results in repeated or significant disruption to the classroom. So that was not a resource available to elementaries. It now is. So if they are in below grade 3, they do have the ability to suspend, but it's very limited. And that language, it indicates threatens the immediate health and safety of other students or documented conduct results in repeated or significant disruptions to the classrooms. All right, now I'm going to breathe and give you a second. Do you have any questions? Yes, sir.
So on the tobacco, just my thought process is, sounds like it seems like we're getting lenient, but a little bit, changing how often they can do whatever.
Yes, sir.
And I think I would speak for this board. I I know that the cell phone deal is a big deal, but vaping in the bathroom and the tobacco on the campus is probably more important to all of us sitting up here than a cell phone.
Yeah, yes.
And I'm not saying that cell phone thing is not important.
Yep.
Because that is a law.
Yeah.
But, I mean, when you talk to kids in high school, the biggest problem is vaping in the bathroom.
Yes, sir. So,
What I'm saying is, let's not forget about that.
absolutely.
And let's make sure that we're still trying to keep
Yes,
that.
yes, sir, and I'll clarify for you. So where we were at was 20 days of DAP. Where we're going is 15 days of ISS with a reduction down to 10 days. You must place them for a minimum of 10. So we're gonna be able to do a reduction plan, and what that means is we're educating kids on the impact of nicotine. So we have that program in place. So the goal is we reduce it down, we keep them on campus. One of the disconnects is when you send them to DAP, you're removing them from access to the teachers that they normally have. You're creating what can amount to a gap in their instruction, and maintaining them on campus allows them to still have some of that access. So we're still holding accountability. We're still holding them to what I would say is a pretty hefty penalty when it comes to ISS, right? And then we have access. We're going to do the education piece. If they follow through with all of the learning, it's going to take them to get it done in 15 days or in 10 days. They'll have to have outside hours where they're doing the learning because they won't be able to get it done otherwise. So given all of that, they can reduce it down to 10 days. So we were allowing them to reduce at DAP. Now instead of transitioning them to a different campus and disrupting their learning, we're going to be able to keep them on campus for that first offense. And the vast majority are first offenses, right? So we're trying to keep it or eliminate that disconnect for the vast majority of our kids rather than removing them to DAP.
I have a question too. So what you said, Cliff, is right on. I'm hearing that with the law, the way it's changed, that we're moving a lot of people to keep them in school. That's great.
Yep.
Are we prepared capacity-wise and and teachers and
Yes.
desks and, because then that's gonna be a whole
Yes.
other thing. Are we prepared to house these in-house students?
Yeah,
Because I don't want them removed either.
I love
I'm good
that
with
question.
And I wanna know, what is that gonna look like? Because
Yes.
we're gonna have parents on that,
Yes,
so.
yeah, we're not stacking 55 kids in a room, right?
Okay.
So we've addressed it with the campuses. We took that information to them and tried to formulate, can they handle? So they looked at their daily ISS numbers, the capacity of the space, how many kids can we handle, how many do we handle on an average daily basis, and they really determined there's room for them to be able to house the additional kids that have come through that program. I will say this, the other piece is they're taking a much more proactive approach this year to how they monitor unstructured spaces, right? So we're talking about bathrooms. They're going to be doing right now, and I would say obviously this is a bigger issue for the high school just with the size of the campus, right? So they're going to have people monitoring the restrooms at each passing period. They'll have people assigned. And then their other piece is they will have administrators who are assigned to monitor restrooms during the actual class period. The other thing is, and you guys have all kind of heard this at different spaces, Minga, which is what Lynn Lucas used this year to monitor hallway traffic and do some other pieces. The high school will be adopting that as well as the other two middle schools. So they'll be able to control who's going in and out of class, how many kids are allowed to leave. You're not allowed to go out with Mr. Jones because the two of you get into trouble together. You won't be able to leave a classroom, it'll flag that. So they've got some of these tools they're putting in place to reduce it as well. So I think that would kind of go back to what your concern is, Mr. Williams.
I have a question. On the, you're talking about the out-of-school suspension for the third
Yes, sir.
graders and all that. The wording in there said to harm to other students, but does that include teachers as well?
Ooh, boy, you got me on that one.
The language would be inclusive of others, and so yes, if
So
there's a
the
danger
inclusive
to
of others
others.
would include like the teachers or staff?
Correct. So the language is other, and that includes, anybody. It could be an adult, it could be a student. Yes, sir.
And back to the tobacco and cell phone stuff, whether it's the discretionary stuff as far as DAEP, who has the final saying as far as the discretion? Is it one person or is there a couple people?
I love that. So what we are transitioning to, and I love this because it's been an ongoing conversation between Dr. James, myself, Dr. Velasco. We're going to do it essentially as a committee. So what ends up happening is your campus leadership at the dean or associate level for secondary and then assistant principal to principal, they're the initial deciding factor. But DAP placements will be reviewed by a committee. So you'll have secondary representation, elementary representation, and then the principal from the campus, and we'll be able to have the conversation. is this the right outcome? Are there other opportunities, other ways that we can handle it? Because not everything has to be a removal, right? And yes, we have very clearly articulated guidelines for how we determine a DAP placement, but we also want to know that that's actually what's best for the kid, and not just simply, this is the way we do it, so therefore this kid must go. Or, hey, I'm really annoyed with Mr. Carson today, so I'm sending him to DAP. We're gonna have a little bit of a check on that, right?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So phone will be offered in the backpacks now?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That was, who made that decision? I mean,
That's an adherence with state law. Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So what the state law gave us latitude was, are you going to outright ban them from campus so they cannot bring them all together? Or are you going to simply prohibit the use and then designate a location for them to store the devices? We want to be financially responsible, so the idea of taking on a massive purchase of some sort of storage facility doesn't make sense. And so turning it off and having it in the backpack still allows parents to be able to say, hey, once my kid is done with their academic day and they're released, I have the ability to communicate with them. But during that school day, we are at school.
Yeah, because you take away, you know, like something, a school shooting, they can, you know, like call somebody and talk to you.
Yes, yes.
That's-
Yeah, so well, I mean, they still have the capacity in an emergency situation to be able to access their device. Yeah, absolutely.
The big rub there is just gonna be enforcing.
Yes.
Like Nikki was saying.
Yeah, because
55
we're gonna have a lot of
55 desks in there. We're
athletes
gonna have a
not
lot of-
going to games because they gotta understand this. And I mean, of course, you know, I'm gonna
Yeah.
have this conversation on the booster, you know, with everything.
Yes.
But you're gonna have a lot of athletes not going to games, not being able to play games because of this, because
Mhm.
we gotta follow all the rules.
Yes.
And then we're gonna have, we're gonna have a lot of people in this ISS.
Yes.
Because it's gonna be a lot of offenses, because this phone is gonna be brand new.
Yes.
And every parent is not gonna act like we would, you know, some of us would tell our kids, and our kids, every kid not gonna follow. Some
Yes.
parents don't even have say in their kids' life. So we're gonna have huge classrooms of kids in ISS for phones.
Yeah.
And I wanna make sure we're handling that, cause then we'll have 60 people in a classroom.
You have a plan.
Especially at, I mean, just
Yes.
being honest,
And-
but
and
that's
I
gonna be
will-
the biggest thing.
I will say, Ms. Lightway, to that point, right? There's a couple of things. One is we're only as good as the adults in the building,
Absolutely.
right? And so we've got some protocols and procedures we're gonna put in place so that we guarantee the adults are on the same page, right? Because as soon as I get one person over here on a different page, then everything falls apart for every person on the campus. So that's number one. Number two, if we're looking at the research, we know about 85% of the kids are going to comply just because it's a rule. And then we're focused on how do we reduce out that other 15%. So 10% of them, because we are consistent, will start to comply. And then we got another 5% that we're gonna have to really dig in and do some heavy lifting with.
I know we were a little late on it. I say late, we really weren't late. I like the survey that you did. Did you get any numbers back on that? Can you talk on that, Dr. J?
Yes, we had over 2,400 people that responded to the survey that we sent out, asking parents. In fact, that I was actually going to pull up my notes. You know, the primary concern for our families was that, first of all, they understood the reason why the state was asking or making this a law. They, you know, we asked the parents what were some of the reasons they felt like that we needed to have a ban, and they understood. We had 75% of those over 2,400 people that participated in the survey. They knew that it would result in fewer classroom disruptions, improve student focus and academic performance, reducing that cyberbullying and the inappropriate use, and that it would also just help our teachers with more instructional time. So those are the things. But the primary concern, which is why it led us to make the decision that they want the children to have access to their phones during the day, because unfortunately the time that we live in, safety, that was their concern, was do they have an opportunity to access if their child feels unsafe. So that was why, hence the decision to keep it in the backpack. They looked at prices for these Yonder bags, or I don't know, I don't even want to say a brand name, but bags and things like that. And, you know, it was an expensive cost. And right now we're talking about budget, right? And so am I going to spend $15 or whatever on a pack that wasn't a good use of at least that's what we felt like was not a good use of funds. So we appreciated the community's vocalness. That's what we want to do. So thanks for asking about that. Is there anything else you want to add to that, or?
I think you nailed it.
I think, yeah, it's 100%. personally, I feel it was great to get the community's input on it, because this is gonna be, this is a tough road. I mean, these kids today, we're gonna have to find out a rehab because they're getting down that phone, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, and it's a tough, but I think it's also, it's gonna be also important to implementation.
Right.
Okay, if this is the rule, this is the rule, and it can't be changed. We gotta make sure our teachers understand that kids are acting, you can get your phones out, play with it, none of that, because then the kids are gonna tell the other teacher the next class, oh, so-and-so let us get them out, you know, so I think this implementation of this is gonna be key, and, I'm excited about it. I mean, I think we're moving, I do believe with us cutting our class time down, 5 minutes this year, that instructional time is gonna be critical.
Yep.
I agree, so. Mr. Williams?
But I move that we accept the superintendent's recommendation as approved.
Let me get a second. We got a motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Mr. Carson. Any more board comments? All in favor? Motion carries 5-0. Item B, discuss and consider approval of the development and cost sharing memorandum between the city of Conroe and Willis ISD.
Thank you, Board. Dr. James. We received a couple of memorandums from the city of Conroe over the past few weeks. And our latest cost-sharing development agreement is for elementary number 7 off of M.D. Clark, which includes the 9th grade campus and a tree canopy ordinance that we are reviewing now. Through this memorandum that they have issued, it is for a cost-sharing agreement that has percentages for each of the campuses. One campus being elementary number 7, the other campus being the 9th grade center, and then the tree canopy ordinance fine that we're looking at. To touch on the tree ordinance, the canopy is, the city has issued us a report giving us 3 options to move forward with the tree canopy. The canopy states that you must have a certain amount of trees per acre on your campus. The high school is lacking that, complying with that ordinance because of the size of the campus and the footprint and when it was built. The campus was built before the tree ordinance went into place. Through working with the city and talking with them, they've agreed to allow us to obtain our own investigation of what we are complying with and what we're not complying with. So we have obtained a company through our engineering firm who is reviewing that now. So we will be getting back to the city with our actual footage of trees and canopies that we do not have. So we're entertaining the idea of the three options, and one of them was pay a fine for however many acreage that you have, or square foot that you have, not trees. So we're looking at all 3 options right now. Now the cost sharing for the water and the sewer is for elementary 7 and there, and then the city is requesting that they are wanting to charge the district for those campuses 10% per campus of a current water plant that's down the street. So through all of this and reading through the cost sharing agreement, the district, along with Dr. James and her team, have come up with a resolution that allows Dr. James to move forward and sign an agreement and sign a resolution with the city in lieu of actually signing the actual agreement. So Dr. James has that resolution, and she'd like to read that at the moment.
Yeah, so the resolution is for the Board of Trustees, Independent School District for Willis, authorizing the superintendent to negotiate cost-sharing agreement with the city of Conroe. And so this is what the resolution says, so if you don't mind me reading this out loud. Whereas the Board of Trustees of the Willis Independent School District has determined that cooperation with the city of Conroe in developing certain water supply capacities will in fact benefit the district, whereas the city has provided the district with a proposed development and cost-sharing memorandum for the district's consideration. Whereas the Board of Trustees has determined that sharing the cost for the development of water supply infrastructure will serve our public purpose of the district by allowing for the supply of water at the new elementary number 7 and the Willis High School expansion. Now therefore be it resolved that the findings and recitals in the preamble of this resolution are hereby found to be true and correct and are hereby approved and adopted. Resolved that the Board of Trustees authorizes the superintendent or my designee to work with the city to develop an agreement amenable to both parties and take all action necessary to negotiate that agreement. Be it resolved that the Board of Trustees directs the superintendent or my designee to negotiate an amenable agreement and to present said agreement for the approval by the Board of Trustees. Resolved that it is hereby found, determined, and declared that sufficient written notice of that time, date, place, and subject of the meeting of the Board of Trustees of the Willis Independent School District at which this resolution was adopted was posted at a place convenient and readily accessible at all times to the general public for the time required by law preceding that meeting as required by Chapter 551 Texas Government Code, and that this meeting has been open to the public as required by law at all times during which this resolution and the subject matter therefore has been discussed, considered, and formally acted upon. The Board of Trustees further ratifies, approves, and confirms such written notice and posting thereof. So what we're asking is that you would, approve this resolution that would give us that opportunity to do that. So.
And this will give us thank you, Dr. James. The cost sharing agreement was issued to us in the month of July. So we received this in July, and we felt that the district did not have enough time to react in order to agree. So we have submitted this resolution to start that process. We want to work with the city. We will work with the city, but this will give us the time. We have to be good stewards to the district and to the taxpayers, so we felt that this is the best direction to take this. So we're asking for permission for Dr. James to sign the resolution.
I got a couple things on this. I think it's important to know that Dr. James and her team and I was able to attend a meeting on February 25th of 2025 of this year before we started elementary number 7 in regards to concerns, because there was already things talking about this moratorium coming into effect. And at that meeting, good man over at Conroe, Mr. Norm, assured us, I asked him, what is the worst and best case scenarios in this situation? And he did respond to us at the time that best case scenario, we would have water July of this year on that piece of property. Worst case scenario was December of this year. That's a whole 8 months before we were gonna need it. So I understand things change and things happen, and we're here to help everybody, but that's why we moved forward, and Dr. James moved forward, and Bob moved forward on building there. And I think that's an important piece while you're talking to the Dr. David Mendoza that gets brought up, because I think it's real important.
Good faith, yes.
Yeah.
Does anyone have any questions?
I had a question on the canopy thing, the fine. Is there a cap on those fines?
There's not necessarily a cap. There's 3 options that the city has given us. One is to plant trees and in place of the trees removal. 2, pay $3.50 a square foot for every square foot of trees that we do not have. And the third was a utility cost sharing agreement. We're looking at the square foot, the $3.50 a square foot. The city had projected around 7 acres of trees that we did not have, or canopy that we didn't have. So we've obtained that tree expert to come in and look at to see what we have. So there's not really a cap on it. Those are the 3 options that we have at the moment.
And also, another thing too, they're not gonna come back next year and try to fine us again each year if we do choose to pay the fine, right?
That I cannot answer that.
When did this,
Find that out.
when did exactly, do you know when the new tree ordinance took effect, when they started implementing that?
I heard it was in 2021. That's what I've heard. I'm not 100% sure, but that's what I've heard.
Is some of these,
trying to look
is some of
into
these
it.
fees that they're discussing trying to give from us, if, before that time, their trees that were taken down before they implemented this?
Well, and yes, that is true, that is true. When the campus was built in, I think, '96, I believe the campus was built, there was not a tree ordinance. So when that campus was built, they cleared all the trees, and the only trees that the district has cleared since then is about an acre of trees, is all we have cleared since the original campus was built.
So are they trying to like go retroactive on it?
Yes.
Or something to charge us for 7 acres worth of trees?
Yes.
Good lord.
Yeah, and we're looking into that. We will request a hardship variance. We're going to request that only because we did not cut the trees down, and the trees were cut before the ordinance ever went into place, and we've only cut down an acre of trees total since the campus was built.
I think, you know, I think it's important, I understand, we all understand, I think, it's going, I mean, there's been such growth in Conroe. But you're gonna have a fun time negotiating this one out for us, Doctor. I have confidence you will, and I'm hoping they're gonna be fair with us about the whole situation. Right now, I got a couple more questions. Out there, where are we at on Calfee right now?
We have we're in the process of our final inspections, and the contractor has all those set up. He's emailed us the dates of them, so we feel comfortable to say that all of our final inspections for the project will be by Wednesday or Thursday of next week. We'll have all of our final inspections.
Everything will be done, and then we'll be asking for a CO at that time?
Yes.
Okay, over on elementary number 7, we've got temporary, I went by there, we got temporary water on that project right now, correct?
Yes, the city has issued the contractor a fire plug meter, which you tie in a 2-inch meter to the fire plug, and that's what our temporary water is, and they do allow that.
Okay, all right. Go ahead, Mr. Carson.
I move that the board adopt the following resolution authorizing the superintendent to negotiate a cost-sharing agreement with the city of Conroe for water infrastructure.
I got a second, motion by Mr. Carson, a second by Coach Perry. Any more board comments?
Do we know what Conroe ISD is doing as far as the tree canopy?
I spoke with Conroe ISD yesterday, and they informed us that they had never been fined for trees. They have not paid for any tree canopy ordinance, because they said that their exact words were, "We built before the tree ordinance went into effect."
Yeah.
And that came from Conroe ISD yesterday.
What about $1 million that go in dollars turn on? They're not in
It doesn't affect them at all. This is basically just in the city limits of Conroe.
You know, it's, I get it, it's just a tough time out here, I mean, because of all these things. We've got, it's just tough to sit there in our business, we can't recoup that kind of money, okay? And I get that there's developers and there's builders and they can recoup that money, they can just charge more for it. We're in a situation where we just can't do that, so we're gonna really have to look at this, Dr. James. I have confidence you and your team can get this figured out with them to be fair, but
I mean, just because we're good stewards of our money and they're not, we're being penalized.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking.
Anyway, I had a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye. I'll raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 no, motion carries. Do we have, any board comments? Well, I got one. I'm excited. I'm real fired up to see how hard y'all been working to get ready for school. I saw the new stuff going in at Lucas and Brown. Excitement going on with Calfee in the community, the stuff that's going on. I'm real excited about that. Dr. James, you and your team are working hard. We all see that. I'm ready to have an awesome school year. I think we're really gonna have one. Superintendent comments?
Yes, sir. I would echo everything you said. We have a great team here that I cannot tell you have put in the hours to make sure that our new teachers came in strong, that our buildings are sparkly and shiny and ready to go before the first day of school. We're excited about, as you said, the new furniture, excited about our new campus. You know, people are coming into places that feel different, feel sparkly. And we met new teachers this week, and first of all, I'm glad to say and thank you that we aren't hiring near as many teachers that we needed to, but the ones that we've hired are amazing. We have people that are brand new. We have people that were in Willis that have come back to Willis. So it's going to be a great year. I can't wait to bring you our scores. We saw some really good increases that I think you're going to be really proud of. I think our community is going to be proud of that. We saw some amazing scores increase. So we'll be starting out. We have new rules, new guidelines, and it's a great year. And so looking forward to that. And I have to say a happy birthday to my mom. It's her birthday today, so I'm going to just say a happy birthday to my mother. And then lastly, I just want to say that our next meeting date is August 20th, which is why I'm so grateful that we were able to do this. We have a Lone Star Governance Workshop at 4:30. Following that, immediately, we'll be going into a public meeting, which will propose our 25-26 school year budget. And then after that, our regular board meeting will start at 5:30. So thank you.
Mr. Williams,
Make a motion to adjourn.
motion by Mr. Williams, a second by Mr. Carson, all in favor? Motion adjourned. Y'all have a great day.